is the Scorpio new moon solar eclipse report for October 25th, 2022. Now, looking at the new moon, we have at 2 degrees Scorpio, and the planet of love and affection is Venus, also in Scorpio at 2 degrees, and that will make a sweet conjunction with the new moon. And we have, although not conjunct, we do have the south node additionally in the sign of Scorpio. So there is a Scorpio stellium with this new moon. And what is Scorpio? Scorpio is about passion. Scorpio is a water sign, and it is connected with the planet powerhouse Pluto and the planet of action Mars. So, this new moon is going to be somewhat intense, and new moons are always about beginning a chapter. Full moons are about closing the chapter. So, there is going to be a beginning on or around October 25th regarding that which represents Scorpio. And Scorpio can also be connected with, because it is connected with the 8th house, about not just depth, but the sign of Scorpio is also connected with healing, somewhat like its fellow water sign of Pisces, or medicine, or what? Transformation. So the beginning here around before, just after the new moon, will be connected with some kind of transformation. What is it in our lives, and what is it going to be publicly that is going to need to be changed, to be transformed? And that's very important. And to get an idea, we will have to look at what Scorpio is connected with its planetary rulers, which are Pluto, in this case, now direct in Capricorn, yet, and the planet of Mars, which is in Gemini. Now, do keep in mind where these planets are in your natal chart is of utmost importance. So please do check your personal birth chart to see where Scorpio, Pluto, Mars, and all the planets may be. Now, we do have Mars, the planet of action, in Gemini. And Gemini is all about communication. It's all about a variety. And Gemini is a very dual sign. It's kind of two places, two ideas all at once. But Gemini is the 3rd house. It's connected with Mercury and the 3rd house of communication. So whatever we will need to have transformed right now, we will feel very passionate and intense about, will be very, very much communicated, very much in the news, very much over social media, the internet, and so on and so forth. We won't be able to talk about it enough. But Mars is also connected with Aries, and Aries is about aggression. So right now, we are going to really assert our opinions. And we must be careful, because it's not just our opinions, it's about our opinions and being agreed with. We want people to go along with what our ideals are, with what we feel passionate about. And a lot of discussion about this intensity, this passion. It may be something positive or it could be something negative, but that depends on the aspects connected with this new moon right now. Now, the other ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, and Pluto, yes, again, is direct, but it is in its post uh, direct motion. So it's moving forward, but it's kind of sluggish. So that can still create a little conflict, create a little bit of the negativity going on there. And Pluto. Pluto is about what? Pluto is the power planet. Pluto is the powers that be, whether it's government or our personal power. And in the sign of Scorpio, or excuse me, in the sign of Capricorn, although connected with this new moon in Scorpio, it is about business, finance, money. It is very conservative. But Pluto likes to be the boss, to be the one in charge. And that's great with Scorpio and Capricorn because those two signs are friendly with each other. But although it's only at 2 degrees Scorpio, and Pluto soon will be next year moving on to the sign of Aquarius. But that's for another reading. However, with this new moon, there is going to be an issue with transformation, with power, the powers that be. And I'm apt to believe because of this Scorpio Capricorn connection, Mars and Gemini, that there could be some kind of abuse of power. And personally, we will have to be cautious that we aren't overly aggressive or take action too hastily in whatever area of your birth chart, especially where Scorpio, Pluto, and Capricorn and Mars lie. But overall, we may feel that there is a matter that we will feel so strongly about. This is not something that we will just let down. It's something we will be discussing, Gemini, for quite a while. So to figure that out, we've got to go back to the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is connected with the 8th house. And yes, there is going to be transformation, but Scorpio is also connected with healing, kind of again like its fellow sign of Pisces. Medicine, passion, power. Now, we've got Scorpio new moon, and especially the moon within a day, connecting up with Uranus, still retrograde, and the North Node in Taurus. Then we've got Saturn in Aquarius. Then, and now direct as well. Then, just after the new moon, there's going to be that sweet fixed sign T-square. And yes, Pluto indirectly configures into this because of its rulership, Capricorn, with the planet Saturn. So there is likely going to be some kind of disagreement or chaos to do with government, the powers that be, possibly overstepping their bounds, especially since Scorpio and now with Pluto in Capricorn like that sense of power. But with the fixed sign emphasis, especially now with Uranus still retrograde and that sensitive north node, south node in Scorpio, well, whatever goes on around the 25th, just before or just after the new moon in October 25th, of course, uh, will be rather intense. And there could be, honestly, to be some type of upheaval because Uranus in Taurus, especially with the South Node and squaring off Saturn in Aquarius, Aquarius, the sign of the collective, will not take too kindly to whatever happens right now because Aquarius is about going against the established. It's about rebellion, the unpredictable, the unique, different. And Aquarius is about, to some degree, somewhat like its fellow air sign, of justice and fairness, our humanity. So to be honest, there could be a violation of our humanity. Now, at the time on the new moon on the 25th, the moon will not be squaring off with Saturn and Uranus and the North Node. But a day later, a day and a half later, the moon will be. So, folks, get ready because although it is a fresh new moon, yes, there is chaos connected with the powers that be, the establishment, rebellion, and speaking our mind. With Mars in Gemini, it's going to be about really kind of taking our masks off and not really worried about what we have to say because the discussion will be very light. No matter what, we will have to speak our mind. It's almost like we can't keep the lid on something that is very important, especially if the powers that be are being unfair or there's a certain amount of injustice right now. And the good news here in all this very heavy new moon and what is going to heighten these emotions even more, solar eclipse, is this trine, air trine with Mercury in Libra, Mars in Gemini, and Saturn in Aquarius. So at least that is something positive because you've got this intensity with Scorpio and the square off with the fixed planets, and now Pluto in Capricorn direct, and all this need connected with the powers that be to overstep their bounds. There's this need for fairness. Then you have this trine. Thank goodness it is in air because air says we may not agree with each other. Yes, there's something going on in the environment that is unjust right now. But if we keep the doors of negotiation open and not get lost in drama, which is wonderful for air because air is about, yes, being detached, not getting lost in emotionalism, which, by the way, looks like what this Scorpio new moon solar eclipse will be about. So get ready. There's gonna be some drama and some heavy control mechanisms in the air. Now, personally, we'll have to be cautious of that as well. We don't want to overstep our bounds because we're feeling kind of feisty, a little bit defensive right now at the end of the month. And what makes this a little bit more intense is the solar eclipse. And in a matter of days, Mars, the planet of action, will be flipping back in the retrograde phase to Mars in Gemini retrograde. So once Mars stations retrograde and then flips back here until early 2023 for a number of months, and do look to my Mars and Gemini reports, we will have to contend with some of the tension in the air because when a planet is retrograde, it is not always at its best. The planet will act, or the actions from that planet and how it affects us, I should say, is that of somewhat of frustration. Because it's retrograde, it's about going back to the past, no matter what planet it is, and having to fix or communicate or connect with that which is in the past. And because we're talking a retrograde planet, we can get lost in frustration or delay and feel like we're going to have more patience and just deal with the situation and the planet that is retrograde. And when we're talking the planet of action, that's only adding to this atmosphere for this new moon chart of frustration and delay and having to be patient. And when you're talking about Mars and Gemini, Mars is the third house, so we want things to happen now. We want to say what's on our mind, but in the process of discussion, we're finding there's an atmosphere of confusion, or maybe people don't seem to get what we're saying. And we may feel like we want to travel, we want to be on the go, but it's like we got to put the brakes on. And that creates more frustration, more delay, and so on and so forth. And adding to this shade here is Mars in Gemini, soon to go backwards, retrograde. Then we've got that sweet Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And it's squaring off that Mars in almost the retrograde stays, pre-retrograde of Gemini. And what is Neptune? Neptune is the deceiver, the confuser. And when you got that squaring off retrograde or pre-retrograde of this date for the new moon, that is, well, yes, all I can say is that we will need a lot of patience right now. Whatever transpires during the time of this new moon, we feel like maybe we're not getting the truth, or maybe we don't know all the facts. So there's a lot of tug of war going on, uh, some opposition, people kind of standing their ground about the atmosphere, the powers that be. And then you add the soon to be Mars retrograde in Gemini with the retrograde Neptune in Pisces. So this is going to add to a bit of our frustration. We know we're not being told the truth, or we believe we are not, or there's some confusion in the atmosphere about what we're told, or we feel like if we want to move forward, we feel like we're stuck and unsure, kind of very uh, needing to be very sure-footed of our actions, yet we're a little nervous about taking action because of whatever we're afraid might go wrong. So, yes, this is a very somewhat of a uncertain new moon. But remember, the one light at the end of the tunnel here is this sweet grand air trine. So what's that saying? When all gets kind of chaotic and crazy, keep the door open for negotiation. Keep the door open for detachment, not getting lost in drama, because this looks like it may be, as aforementioned, drama oriented. We have Jupiter retrograde now at 0 degrees, by the way, 0 critical, especially in the sign of Aries. 0 critical retrograde Aries, and soon to be flipping back into the sign of Pisces. Then that will make a sweet conjunction to Neptune here. But with 0 degrees Aries, 0 critical degrees Aries, it is critical because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And Aries is always about taking the first action. And with Jupiter in the sign of Aries, Jupiter is about what we believe. It is about the ninth house. It is connected with Sagittarius, our prosperity. So in this case, and kind of getting a feel for the atmosphere or the tone of the chart, there's going to be, and this accentuated with 0 critical retrograde Aries, a lot of beliefs, a lot of ideals really put out there. It's kind of heightening this tone of this chart, the atmosphere on or around the 25th October. Yes, will there be protests or chaos? Well, anything goes, but possibly. And with Jupiter at 0 critical Aries and retrograde, soon to be in Pisces, it's the difference between the first house Aries and Pisces. Pisces is compassion. It is our sympathies. But keep in mind, Pisces is about secrets, kind of like its fellow water sign. of the new moon in Scorpio. Pisces is all about mysteries, also like its fellow water sign of Scorpio. And Pisces is about what? It's about healing. It's about the psychical, the unknown. And it's about the past in this case. And guess what? Jupiter is now heading back into that sign very soon. And we will have to go back to the past, especially with Jupiter at 0, critical Aries retrograde with retrograde Neptune. We will have to have some kind of sympathies or compassion now connected with the past. And this leads me to believe that the past and the actions from the past are going to be prominent. We have to go back and have compassion for a particular situation that possibly may have had hidden information, or we will have to go back to the past to heal. And we won't be able to heal unless, believe it or not, there's a certain amount of chaos that may be created. Because you know what? At the end of the day, sometimes chaos, craziness, rebellion isn't always so bad because it helps to release a lot of pent up negativity. And once that is released, we can move forward in a positive direction. So there's always some good here, even in the negative. And with Jupiter and Neptune soon to be meeting up with each other, although rather briefly, it's about healing and to some degree enlightenment. And within a day, well, 2 days, around the 27th, the moon then will trine Neptune. Although Venus is with Neptune. Now that's real sweet because it gives us that heightened sense of, well, passion, but not so much in an intimate way as one would think, although it would be a very good time right now for intimacy. It's about, with the moon, it's about warmth and expressing our warmth and our passion to each other in a way that's very nurturing and very caring, with Venus in Scorpio with the moon. And Venus in Scorpio by itself is rather intense. And we will have to, on the other side of the coin, watch a little bit of what we have to say, because Scorpio can be rather kind of sarcastic. And that may even start off some of this a bit of negativity going on now. We have to just kind of not really be very jaded or edgy in our speech, especially with Mars in Gemini. But with the moon with Venus, the better side of that connection is about being very in tune with each other, expressing our love and affection and warmth in a very nurturing way, very compassionate way, especially just after the new moon. And take the high road, especially personally. We don't want to get carried away with jealousy, negativity, passion that's misplaced, uh, jaded words, especially since, within a day, the South Node is going to hook up with the moon in Scorpio. So we're going to have to be cautious of jealousies, and to bring out that mention before of secrets, because Scorpio, kind of like its fellow water sign, is about, yes, secrets, but about investigation. So right now we might feel like, are we going to be told the truth about something? Maybe we have to investigate what we're being shown. And people are going to be a little bit suspicious now. And then you've got this complex Neptune with Mars square off with Scorpio. So we're really not going to believe anything. So additionally, information is coming about that we are going to be rather defensive, suspicious, a need to investigate, to go behind the scenes and do some digging, some research. And whatever it is, as Scorpio style, we're going to be very passionate and intense about. And that could also be connected with medical or anything to do with the 8th house. And oddly enough, interestingly enough, with the Scorpio stellium and Neptune and squaring off Mars in Gemini, this kind of gives a very undertone of mystery. So it's definitely going to be a Halloween new moon, that's for sure. Definitely, there's this sense of, yes, possibly heightened, especially with the solar eclipse, interest with spirituality, metaphysical, paranormal, Scorpio, Pisces, square off with Mars, the mysteries, the unknown. And this is also going to be heightened at a perfect time right before Halloween. This air of what we do not know, the hidden, and so on. So, to finalize here, this new moon, well, honestly, is going to be rather heavy. Scorpio is connected with the 8th house in depth. So whatever transpires now, we're going to feel very, very certain about whatever is connected to our personal principles, our beliefs, our opinions, ideals. And we're going to fight for that, whatever it will be. If we feel violated, we're going to stand up for that. We're going to feel deep and heavy, intense, passionate, all those Scorpio words. But equally, yes, there is the connection with the chaos, the rebellion, conflict. But we do have a positive. We have the trine in air. And when everything gets dramatic, we feel that information is kept from us, we have to keep the door open. To what? Negotiation. We can't get lost in drama. And that is the key here. So with all the secrets, with all the chaos and the drama, there is a light touch here. And we also have, within a couple days, an applying sextile to Pluto. So that's very productive. So if we look to the positive with the way of detaching ourselves from the passion, the drama, we are productive in trying to keep an open mind and consider other people's feelings and opinions. Take a hint from the retrograde Neptune and Jupiter. We have sympathy, compassion, empathy. Maybe we become a little bit empathic, Neptune and Pisces, with the Scorpio water. And we try to heal each other right now because that's what it's about. Then the new moon solar eclipse, with all the uncertainty, unexpected, well, will hopefully turn out better than expected.